I'm really perplexed why this is so hard, why I can't come up with a coherent storyline to tell you. When I started Sean for Science, I wanted to avoid having too much structure. I just kind of wanted to let the creativity fall. I did have a couple of principles. The first thing was that I wanted to make sure that I was making a lot of noise. And the second thing was I wanted to make sure I was making a lot of noise in the direction of reframing the way that we teach, discuss, and do science. So one thing that's been going pretty well is the fact that I've been really happy and I'm able to do pretty much whatever I want, whenever I want. Summer is definitely over. It's definitely getting cold. The trees are definitely changing color. So one of the kind of big priorities for me has been to get out to the high country as often as possible, while it's still easy to drive up to a trailhead and just go for a run, just to get out. We went up for a run. We went up Maple Pass. It was super fun. Another thing that seems to be bubbling up a lot is this concept of other people's projects. Just a general frustration with working on stuff that is not relevant to me or relevant to what I'm interested in. But I don't really have anything to say other than I don't give a fuck. Like I'm tired of it. When I was in graduate school, we had a pretty tough instructor for our electricity and magnetism class. He was notoriously tough. His problems were really outrageous, at least so we thought. And so studying was a really big deal. And one of the things about studying that I kind of knew and understood as an undergraduate, but I really learned in graduate school, this process of thinking and working, is that you can waste a lot of time doing shit that really doesn't matter when you're studying. You really have to find a way to gauge progress. Specifically for the class of electromagnetism, progress for us meant like doing well on the homework and doing well on the exams after having gone through that process and learning actual physics and actual research. What I came to the conclusion is the homework actually wasn't that hard. It's just that we were not used to thinking about it that way. There's no clear-cut answer to this, and there's no clear-cut thing, but what I'm trying to get across is that when you're trying to move forward, when you're trying to advance, when you're trying to learn, when you're trying to become something, there's no algorithm for it. And the process that you choose will potentially leave you with blind spots. Okay, backlit. But up to Maple Pass. Ready? Whew. One of the things that I'm coming to terms with now is this idea that instead of doing the actual problems to try to predict what was going to be on the test, because you never could, was really goal-oriented. Instead of like, what are the types of problems, and trying to classify and try to pick up some strategy, really what I should have done is explored the space of what the homework was about. If you have some experience dealing with that difficulty, you know what the answer should look like, and you don't have to hesitate on the exam. How much project management should go into the process of learning, the process of trying to do something? Does it interfere with your creativity? How do you gauge whether or not you're making progress? Just sitting there and reading a book for 6 hours at a coffee shop and drinking 3 lattes or 3 cups of coffee doesn't mean that you've absorbed anything. Exams are there in some sense to test if you absorb, and you can gamify things however you want, but it's not about the game, it's about building the skill. And so how do you How do you measure that? And the only way I can think of is you measure it by creating, by building. That's it. There it is. You measure it by creating. What can you do that's new? And then in addition, how can you explain that new idea to other people? It doesn't have to be new in the sense of something that's new globally, that's something that's new to humanity. It could just be new to you. But if you've done it your way, then you know you've understood the steps that lead you to get to that direction. Then you know what the problem is. Gosh, okay. So finally, I think I'm settling on something to say today. This is great. Downhill. Oh, no, we'll see you down there.